Good morning. You're watching the Breakfast News on Rajya Sabha television with me, Frank Pereira. Here are this morning's headlines. 9 people arrested, 2 police officials suspended for alleged assault and stripping of Tanzanian student in Bengaluru. Tanzanian High Commissioner says he is impressed with action taken by the government. PDP hardens stand over government formation in Jammu and Kashmir. Party chief Mehbooba Mufti says no government if centre does not create conducive atmosphere in the state. 37 people killed and 25 injured as bus plunges into Purna River in Navsari in Gujarat. Survivors say driver lost control over the bridge. Vice President returns to India after wrapping up 5-day visit to Brunei and Thailand, says terrorism is a pandemic and that the issue figured prominently during talks with leadership of both nations. And for the first time in over 4 months, trucks from India enter Nepal through key border trade point. Local traders from both sides burned down tents set up by Madheshi protesters. The Supreme Commander of the Indian Armed Forces, President Pranab Mukherjee, is inspecting the Guard of Honour being presented by 115 naval personnel at the International Fleet Review in Visakhapatnam. A contour of 50-plus countries and naval chiefs of 24 others, including the United States, are participating in the biggest naval exercise of the region. Other major navies that are part of the IFR are Russia, France, Japan, China, and the regional representation includes Bangladesh and Sri Lanka. Unity through the oceans is the theme for IFR 2016. 70 to 75 helicopters of various types, including Hawk jet fighters, will exhibit their talent and demonstrate in the Bay of Bengal. The President is reviewing 90-plus warships and submarines, which also include 22 vessels from foreign navies from the presidential yacht, the INS Sumitra. Prime Minister Narendra Modi is also attending the International Fleet Review and a visit to a maritime exhibition. The last IFR was conducted in January 2001 off Mumbai with participation from 29 countries. These, of course, are the live visuals coming to you from that IFR that is being held after a gap of 15 years. Meanwhile, Vice President Hamid Ansari has returned to India after wrapping up a 5-day tour of Brunei and Thailand. During the visit, he held talks with the top leadership of the two countries on the entire gamut of issues, including connectivity, maritime security and terrorism. Before leaving for home from Bangkok, Ansari called on Thai Princess Mahachakri Srindhorn at the Sraprathum Palace and inspected the Chitralada project inside it. He was seen off at the airport, of course, by the Thailand Minister of Information and Communication, Uttama Savanayana. Ansari was the first Vice President to visit Thailand in 50 years. Terming terrorism as a pandemic, Vice President Hamid Ansari said that the issue figured prominently during his talks with the top leadership of Brunei and Thailand. On board his flight home, the Vice President said that every country is facing the threat today.
Given to us was that they are keen on developing their relations with India in different fields. We talked about specifics in one set of things in Brunei, another set of things, and some common things in Bangkok. But everywhere, I mean, the chemistry was right. The responses were very positive.
Well, India and Sri Lanka have agreed to find an innovative and lasting solution to the fishermen issue, a major irritant in the bilateral ties. The foreign ministers of the two countries reviewed the progress made in various sectors like defence, aviation and trade. The two countries also signed MOUs in education and health sectors. External Affairs Minister Sushma Swaraj and her Lankan counterpart Mangala Samaravira co-chaired the 9th Indo-Lankan Joint Commission meeting. The two sides also agreed that Sri Lankan Fisheries Minister Mahinda Amaravira would travel to India to hold talks to resolve the fishermen issue. On the second day of her Sri Lanka visit, Sushma Swaraj will inaugurate a Rise of Digital India exhibition as part of Sangam Festival of India in Sri Lanka. The exhibition will showcase the rise of the computing sector and digital technologies in India. The External Affairs Minister also called on Sri Lankan Prime Minister Ranil Wickremesinghe and is scheduled to meet the former President Chandrika Kumaratunga during her 2-day stay in the country.
Two MOUs that were signed in addition to the minutes. One was for the renovation of 27 schools in the northern province and another for the construction of a surgical unit and supply of medical equipment. There was agreement that we need to find an innovative solution. There was agreement that it needs a lasting solution. And Sri Lanka has welcomed our invitation to their Minister for Fisheries to visit India.
Well, Prime Minister Narendra Modi had a hectic day-long trip to Assam on Friday. Apart from inaugurating key projects in the region, he also kicked off the BJP's election campaign in the poll-bound state. Later in the evening, he addressed the annual conference of the Srimanta Sankaradeva Sangha in Sivasagar. His last engagement of the day was the inauguration of the 12th South Asian Games in Guwahati. Here's more.
On a day-long visit to Assam, Prime Minister Narendra Modi suggested a new development model for the northeastern states. He inaugurated two projects, a 10,000 crore petrochemical plant and a wax-making unit at the Numaligarh oil refinery. The Prime Minister said the development of the northeast region is a matter of priority for his government.
भारत के पूर्वी छोर का विकास इस पर सबसे ज्यादा बल देना ये हमारी सरकार की प्राथमिकता है और तभी जाकर के भारत का संतुलित विकास होगा, भारत का सर्वांगीण विकास होगा.
The Prime Minister then officially launched the BJP's election campaign in the poll-bound state by beating the traditional drum in Dibrugarh, the hometown of party's chief ministerial candidate Sarbanand Sonowal. In his rally speech, Modi lashed out at the Gandhi family, blaming them for parliament disruptions.
एक परिवार अड़ा हुआ है कि हम राज्यसभा चलने नहीं देंगे, हम देश का कोई काम होने नहीं देंगे, क्योंकि देश की जनता ने हमें हराया क्यों, हम उसका बदला लेंगे और वो मजदूरों से बदला लेंगे. ये बोनस का कानून लोकसभा में पारित हो गया, राज्यसभा में आगे बढ़ाना है, वो राज्यसभा चलने ही नहीं दे रहे.
He also used the occasion to flag the issue of Assamese pride, urging people to give one chance to the BJP to form a government in the state. He contended that laws for the welfare of the state can be put in place only when there is a government in Guwahati which listens to the centre.
एक मौका भारतीय जनता पार्टी को भी दे करके देखिए, आसाम नंबर 1 बना करके रखिए.
Post the election rally, the Prime Minister addressed the annual conference of the 15th century Vaishnavite saint Srimant Shankaradev in Shivasagar. Over 3 lakh Vaishnavite devotees from across the state assembled at the 85th session of the conference. Modi then flew to Guwahati to inaugurate the 12th South Asian Games. 8 South Asian countries, Afghanistan, Bangladesh, Bhutan, India, Maldives, Nepal, Pakistan and Sri Lanka are participating in the Games, being jointly hosted by Guwahati and Shillong. Bureau Report, Rajya Sabha TV.
Meanwhile, continuing the war of words between the government and the opposition, Congress Party Vice President Rahul Gandhi has refuted allegations levelled by the Prime Minister. Responding to the Prime Minister's charge of one family is not letting Parliament to function smoothly, the Congress VP asked Modi not to make excuses and focus on working for the people of the country.
Well, the job of the Prime Minister is to run the country. The job of the Prime Minister is not to make excuses. The Prime Minister, all the Prime Minister has been doing for the last 1.5 years is to make excuses why the economy is not running, make excuses why the farmers are not getting their due, make excuses about why laborers are not getting what they should get. India did not choose Mr. Narendra Modi to make excuses. India chose a leader. And the leader should not make excuses. The leader should do the job that he's been elected to do.
Meanwhile, Telangana's ruling TRS swept the civic polls in Hyderabad, virtually wiping out the TDP-BJP alliance and the Congress. The TRS, led by Chief Minister K. Chandrasekhar Rao, which didn't contest the 2009 polls, bagged 99 seats in the 150-member House of the Greater Hyderabad Municipal Corporation. Asaduddin Owaisi's AIMIM won 44 seats, while the Congress, which won the previous election, was reduced to 2 seats. It was a humiliating defeat for the TDP-BJP alliance as well. The alliance managed just 5 seats together, with BJP winning 4. This was the first major civic election in the IT city after a separate Telangana state was carved out of Andhra Pradesh in June 2014. From Telangana to Jammu and Kashmir now. The PDP has hardened its stand over government formation in Jammu and Kashmir. Party chief Mehbooba Mufti has made it clear that she will not form the government with BJP in Jammu and Kashmir if the Narendra Modi government does not create a conducive atmosphere by committing confidence-building measures for the state. Mehbooba indicated that she was not looking for any financial package, but the CBM sought by her should focus on political aspect of the problem. The remarks reflect the hardening of stance over forming a coalition government with the BJP in the state, which is under the governor's rule since January 8th. A day after the demise of her father and the then Chief Minister Mufti Mohammad Saeed. PDP with 27 MLAs in the 87-member assembly and BJP with 25 legislators ran a coalition government headed by Saeed for 10 months before his death. Well, for the first time in over 4 months, trucks from India entered Nepal through a key border trade point. This after local traders from both sides burned down tents set up by Madheshi protesters who had imposed a blockade that led to severe shortage of fuel in the landlocked nation. Trucks entered Nepal through the Birgunj-Roxol border crossing in Bihar. A huge convoy of freight containers entered Nepal after local entrepreneurs from Nepal and India set ablaze the tents set by protesters. Locals chased away Tarai Madhesh Loktantrik Party leader Jitendra Sonal, who reached the scene claiming the border blockade had not been officially ended. The Madheshis, mostly of Indian origin, have been demanding the new constitution be amended to include their concerns. There is a strong presence of police and locals on the bridge. Meanwhile, small vehicles and rickshaws are plying on and across the bridge. Meanwhile, women organization leaders who led a stir against alleged gender bias at the Shani Shignapur temple in Ahmednagar in Maharashtra have been called for talks with temple authorities by the district administration. The women have been demanding a lift on the centuries-old ban on female devotees entering the sanctum sanctorum. The women's group brought their fight to the Chief Minister Devendra Fadnavis for lifting the ban. They also submitted a memorandum of demands seeking his support. On January 26th, at least 400 women volunteers, mainly hailing from Pune, led by Desai, made an unsuccessful attempt to storm the sanctum sanctorum of the temple when police stopped the marchers. The marchers were detained there for a few hours, being released and sent back to Pune on buses. As the showdown erupted, the Chief Minister had favoured a dialogue between temple authorities and activists to find a way out, maintaining that women have a right to pray.
मुख्यमंत्री जी ने आदेश दिया है कि कलेक्टर और एसपी ने जो है वो ट्रस्टी और आंदोलक की एक बैठक ले, तो आज उन्होंने वो बैठक रखी हुई है। तो हमें पूरा विश्वास है मुख्यमंत्री जी के ऊपर कि वो महिलाओं को प्रवेश खुला करेंगे।
Well, it's time for a short break now, but news and updates will continue on the other side. Stay tuned. We'll be right back.
In science, failures teach you sometimes as much as the successes do. There's no successful malarial vaccine. Correct. There are drugs to which the parasite becomes resistant. But the problem is why you don't have a vaccine, why you have resistance. The understanding of the molecular details help you address these issues they may take time, in a more efficient way.
Watch Eureka with Dr. Pushkar Sharma, scientist at National Institute of Immunology, on Rajya Sabha television.
Gyan Chopper is the ancient version of Indian snakes and ladders. This intriguing game was popular among the old, the young and the rulers as well. The chopper has its origin in the Jain philosophy. It tells the story of virtue. Each square, in turn, also narrates some message of wisdom.
Welcome back. You're watching Rajya Sabha television. Well, 9 people have been arrested and 2 police officials suspended in connection with the assault and stripping of a Tanzania student in Bengaluru. The Tanzanian envoy to India has said he is satisfied the progress in the case. Congress Vice President Rahul Gandhi has said that he has directed the state government to take strict action against the guilty. Here's more.
4 more people have been arrested and 2 police officials suspended in connection with the alleged assault and stripping of a Tanzanian woman in Bengaluru. The total number of people arrested in connection with the case now stands at 9.
Now, initial inquiry, as I said, there is still a lot of confusion in the sense that the lady said in her statement there were 4 people in the car, but we talked to the other friends who were there in the car. They say there are 5. So we are trying to verify how much is there. And there was presence, as she stated in her statement, presence of the policemen were found there, and out of them 2 fellows have been already suspended.
On Friday, the Tanzanian High Commissioner, along with External Affairs Ministry officials, met state officials in Bengaluru to get their account. They met the Karnataka Home Minister too. After the meeting, the envoy said they were impressed with the action taken in the case.
And we are very much impressed by the action already being taken by the government. There are very concrete measures which have already been taken, and they are continuing to do so. But what is more important is that we should look into the future.
The action which we have taken, they are convinced about it. And also, I have told them, I have reassured them that such incidents will not happen. And actions, what we have planned as a long-term measures, considering the foreign students, particularly the African students, about their safety, peaceful coexistence along with the community. We have already explained to them.
Union Law Minister Sadananda Gowda, who was also in Bengaluru, asked the state government to form a special squad to keep a watch on foreign students. He also said innocent people should not be arrested.
Has to take some stringent measures. It is learned that the state government itself has said that more than 1,000 foreign students whose visa has expired are still in Bangalore. What are they doing? Is it not the responsibility to find out those people and intimate the central government or the External Affairs Ministry to send them out of the country?
Congress Vice President Rahul Gandhi assured strict action in the assault case.
The moment I heard about that issue, I spoke to General Secretary and I mentioned to General Secretary to look into this matter, speak to the Chief Minister, and I've made it very clear to both of them that strict action needs to be taken and it will be taken. Thank you.
The incident took place on Sunday night, in which the 21-year-old Tanzanian student faced mob fury in vigilante justice after a Sudanese driving a car in an alleged drunken state struck a couple, killing a woman on the spot. Bureau Report, Rajya Sabha TV.
Moving on now, the Congress has demanded a special investigation team probe into the reported land allotment to a company run by business associates of Gujarat Chief Minister Anandiben Patel's daughter, Anar Jayesh Patel. According to media reports, the company was allotted 250 acres near the Gir Lion Sanctuary at an official rate of 15 rupees per square meter. The company allegedly owns 400 acres of prime land. Accusing the Prime Minister of turning a blind eye towards the deal, Congress leader Anand Sharma said that the Chief Minister should resign over the allegations.
और निष्पक्ष जांच के लिए ये भी आवश्यक हो जाता है कि गुजरात की मुख्यमंत्री जो उस समय राजस्व मंत्री थी और आज भी राजस्व विभाग है उनके पास, जिन्होंने सरकारी जमीन 250 एकड़ रिजॉर्ट बनाने के लिए उन लोगों को दी जिनके व्यावसायिक निकट संबंध, हिस्सेदारी उनकी स्वयं की पुत्री के साथ है। इसलिए वो पद त्याग दें।
Moving on now, 37 people were killed and 25 injured after a bus fell into the Purna River in Gujarat's Navsari district on Friday. The state transport bus was headed towards Ukai when the accident took place near a village situated 12 kilometers away from the Navsari district headquarters. As per the survivors' account, the driver of the bus lost control of the vehicle when it was passing through the bridge and it plunged into the river after breaking iron railings. There were 60 people on board the bus. Gujarat Chief Minister Anandiben Patel has expressed grief over the accident.
Possible efforts are being taken by all the departments. Rescue efforts started immediately, and all the ambulances, fire brigade, etc. were mobilized. Government will definitely be giving compensation, but the exact details as of now we are not.
Moving on to some international news now, a 10-month-old baby was among 3 dead after a 17-story tower block was toppled by a 6.4 magnitude earthquake in southern Taiwan. Rescuers are battling to free residents still trapped inside. Officials said 4 buildings collapsed in the quake, which struck the island in the early hours of the morning, but rescue efforts are centering on the tower block that tumbled onto its side. Firefighters pulled survivors from the twisted concrete, trying to access apartments through windows and scaling the rubble with ladders. The baby, a man and a woman were pulled dead from the block with 29 residents hospitalized. More than 200 residents have now been freed from the rubble, with local media reporting the tower contained more than 200 homes. Officials were unable to give an estimate of how many were still trapped as they scoured the building. Pacific Tsunami Warning Center said a destructive Pacific-wide tsunami was not expected. Here's a roundup of the other international news in our World Wrap. The militant group Al-Qaeda has claimed responsibility for the January 15 kidnapping of 2 Australians in northern Burkina Faso. The group released an audio statement claiming responsibility and said it had decided to release one of the woman captives unconditionally. The group said it was releasing the woman under public pressure and in accordance with what is said was guidance from Al-Qaeda leaders not to involve women in war. A fire at a hotel in the capital of Iraq's Kurdistan region killed 17 people on Friday. Hotel authorities said that the fire started in a massage parlor next door and that some of those killed were from the Philippines. The cause of the fire is not clear, but an electrical fault was suspected. Malian troops backed by UN helicopters recaptured a UN police base in the city of Timbuktu from suspected Islamist militants. Malian defense minister said that an army commander was killed in the rescue operation along with 3 of the attackers. The militants have stepped up attacks in Mali in recent months as part of a growing regional insurgency. The incident followed a series of attacks by Al-Qaeda militants in West Africa, including a hotel siege in Burkina Faso's capital last month, in which 30 people were killed. Meanwhile, 2 small planes collided mid-air and plunged into the ocean off of Los Angeles harbor. There was no immediate word of any survivors. The planes collided and apparently went into the water about 2 miles outside the harbor entrance, U.S. Coast Guard and other officials confirmed. It was unknown how many people were on board. About 24 divers were on call to scour the area, but the planes may be at the bottom in up to 90 feet of water. Moving on to some sports news now. The Indian teams for the World T20 and Asia Cup have been announced. The units are along similar lines that contributed to the landmark 3-0 win against Australia and were named for 3 matches against Sri Lanka. The only changes being that Mohammad Shami was recalled and so was Virat Kohli.
Seamer Mohammad Shami has been picked in the Indian squad for the World T20 and Asia Cup. Shami had returned from Australia with a hamstring injury and has not played for India since the 2015 World Cup. Virat Kohli, who was not part of the team for the 3 T20Is against Sri Lanka after being rested, has also made a comeback. He replaces Manish Pandey in the squad. Shami replaces Bhuvneshwar Kumar.
The advantage with Mohammad Shami is from now we have 30 days before we start the World Cup, T20 World Cup. Also, we have the Asia Cup. So we have good time for, making a call on Mohammad Shami. He's been one of the best bowlers. He has recovered. He has started bowling. That's all I can say at the moment.
The squad includes Mahendra Singh Dhoni as captain and wicketkeeper, Rohit Sharma, Shikhar Dhawan, Virat Kohli, Ajinkya Rahane, Suresh Raina, Yuvraj Singh, Hardik Pandya, Ravindra Jadeja, Ravichandran Ashwin, Jasprit Bumrah, Ashish Nehra, Harbhajan Singh, Mohammad Shami and Pawan Negi.
It is very important for selectors to pinpoint that in this shorter format, horses and courses have worked well. Looking at the last 8 IPL tournaments and whatever domestic IPL T20 tournaments BCCI or New Zealand organizers then play, we have taken into account all the performances of not just 15, 16 guys, but those who have been part of this domestic cricket.
Pawan Negi is the only uncapped player in the squad and has been picked based on his performance in the IPL and Ranji. He bowls quick left-arm spin and is a big hitter down the order. Bureau Report, Rajya Sabha TV.
Well, the 12th South Asian Games opened with a glittering opening ceremony in Guwahati on Friday. Inaugurating the event, Prime Minister Narendra Modi said that the Games signified teamwork, togetherness and talent and hoped that the event would bring together the people of South Asia like never before. In the opening ceremony, the players of all 8 participating nations marched past a crowd of thousands. Squash player Gaurav Ghoshal was the flag bearer of the 521-member Indian contingent. A colourful performance by dancers from across India depicting the rich cultural heritage of the country was also the highlight of the ceremony. Hosts of dignitaries from India and SAARC nations were present at the ceremony. Over 2,500 athletes from 8 nations will be a part of the Games, which is to be co-hosted by Guwahati and Shillong. Here's a roundup of the other sports news in our sports beat. Undefeated India are in action against Namibia in the quarterfinals of the ICC Under-19 World Cup in Fatula today. India will be high on confidence after topping Group D with a big margin win against Ireland, New Zealand and Nepal by them in the group stages. Namibia, on the other hand, scored a sensational win against South Africa and will look to cause an upset in the quarterfinal as well. After 2 consecutive losses in the Fed Cup, the Indian team finally tasted success as it outplayed Uzbekistan 3-0 in Pool A. Prerna Bamri provided a solid start with a 6-1, 6-1 win over Sabina Sharyapova. Ankita Raina then sealed it for India with another straight sets victory. Ankita then joined hands with world number 1 in doubles Sania Mirza to win the doubles tie. Juan Antonio Pizzi has been appointed as the new coach of the Chilean men's national soccer team. Pizzi, who will succeed Copa America winning coach Jorge Sampaoli, has been hired until the end of the World Cup qualifiers for the 2018. The Argentine was most recently coach of Mexican club Leon and has coached several clubs in Argentina. The International Association of Athletics Federations has said it is investigating a letter alleging historic state-backed doping in the sport in China. The letter was apparently written by Chinese Olympic medalist Wang Junxi in 1995, but only published in the state media this week. The Chinese claim comes after the IAAF was hit by allegations that its officials were complicit in doping among Russian athletes in 2009. That's it on this edition of The Breakfast News. Have a good day.